episode of the Dr. Music Podcast, where today I am honored to have with me Miss Liv Kristine. She has been called the Queen of Scandinavian Gothic Metal, earning this title mostly by way of her influential work with the bands Theater of Tragedy and Leaves' Eyes, as well as a monumental Grammy nomination with the performance with metal legends Cradle of Filth, which brought great success to that band. She has a new solo record called River of Diamonds, and it's being released this Friday, April 21st, on Metalville Records. Liv, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for taking time, and I'm very happy to share this moment with you, Scott.
Yeah, it's so exciting. It really is. With your long history, your catalog of so many different things, such a versatile singer, this is kind of a culmination of all of that. There's so many great things going on with this record. Well, tell me first of all, in that introduction, I said Queen of Scandinavian Gothic Metal, and you smile a little bit. Do you embrace that title still?
Oh, I still blush when people say that because it really feels sweet, and it gets straight into my artistic heart, and I'm very very honored to be the keeper of this title. Yeah, in the mid '90s or in the beginning of the '90s, when we were students of American and British poetry, we loved Poe, Edgar Allan Poe, Shakespeare, Emerson, all this stuff, and we loved doom metal and black metal, and when those long-haired guys, when they were like, okay, so you definitely want to sing, and you don't play the keyboard, because back then, if you weren't Joan Jett or Lita Ford, you were supposed to play keyboards in dark bands. But I couldn't, and I still can't up to date. So I joined in, and we rehearsed. I was just joining in as a female vocalist with the soprano voice. And the thing is, I grew up Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Iron Maiden. My parents were really young when I entered this world. And next to that, ABBA. I listened to ABBA and Kate Bush, with all the great harmonies. So I was actually... I was a late talker, so what I did, because I didn't make it to the kindergarten, which was, lucky for me, I could spend my time in my bubble, standing in front of the mirror with a hairbrush in my hand and singing along with my first soprano voice of a 4-year-old along to Black Sabbath, and that was. That's the recipe for what happened with Theater of Tragedy some years ago when in my youth. So that's how it happened. So yeah, I guess Gothic Queen is all right. It feels good. It feels authentic. Well, thank you.
I love saying it. I got to tell you, it is great. And you guys pioneered that Beauty and the Beast sound in Theater of Tragedy for sure. One of the first, if not the first, to do that kind of thing, and now I see it coming up all the time. There's so many bands that have adopted that style. So it was a huge success for you guys, and you really paved the way for a lot of bands. Very, very influential, pioneering band. The new single, "Love Me High," that's very different. It's a very different sound for you. It's kind of it reminds me of Berlin very much. An 80s new wave kind of thing, Eurythmic style. I love the song, and we get Carmen, of course, with you on that one.
Yeah.
Your sister, of course, which is always fun to hear. Um, you say you had Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden. Where does this come from? Did you have those kinds of that '80s new wave sound? Was that in your life at all too?
Yes, absolutely. Next to ABBA, there was, as mentioned, Kate Bush, and then later, when in my youth, there was Madonna, there was Annie Lennox and Eurythmics, of course, and bands like Berlin, Sisters of Mercy, Fields of the Nephilim. There were the whole range of possible musical directions were on my playlist. So I've been very open-minded. I've always been very open-minded, even towards classical music, which we also, which also became a very important feature for theater of tragedy. So, yeah. In 1998, I released my first solo album, Deus Ex Machina, which was a electro pop album.
Right.
And I'd never been afraid of showing my true colors, of showing my authentic self, being different, and I've never been afraid of criticism. So, because music is a safe place for me. Even on stage, it's a bubble in which I'm healing. So it's a part of me. It's an inner call. It's something I never studied. I never got vocal coaching or singing lessons. I studied it with my life. So it's such a deep part of me. It's something that comes from the heart or through the heart. And I've always had a very open-minded audience. So I've released so many albums. I think it's nearly 20 up to date. I think it's nearly 20. And every album is in a different musical direction. And it's amazing how much space and openness my audiences have granted me over all these years. And that's why I keep doing this, because when I lost Liv's eyes, when I had to leave Liv's eyes, I kind of lost my baby, and I thought, okay, now if Liv's eyes would have been everything in my career, then that would have been not so good, because Liv Kristine has been around for with my solo band since 1998, and I could actually pick up the crumbles of my own solo band and start from scratch, get my rights back, split with people who really didn't wish me the best, the people who were after money, people who kind of, if you don't do what they want to and they paid you, they sue you, right? Yeah. So I just get rid of all that. I was sick and tired of the music business. I was sick and tired of managements with ideas, that wouldn't really fit to me, or didn't feel authentic, labels. So I Liv Kristine, and we started from scratch, and that's what I'm so happy about, that it's been there all the time, and you've been there all the time.
It is nice to see that reception for you, and that to accept those different styles. I think we love the journey that you give us. It's really, we get something different each time. It's really fun. And I think people will have great fun with this record, with this new record. Once again, it's a step in a different direction. I want to say many different directions with this record, but still cohesive. Still a record that works together. It ebbs and flows throughout from beginning to end. It's great. Now, tell me about the writing of the record. Well, I think about, in 2016, you had what we were talking about with Leaves Eyes and a lot of heartbreak and tragedy in your life. Thought about giving up music. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the first release coming off of that time, Have Courage, Dear Heart, in 2021, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That had to be a special set of songs for you.
Mm-hmm.
And we get two of those that you've brought forward, Gravity and Serenity, are on
Mm-hmm.
the River of Diamonds record. Tell me about the writing difference, maybe from the EP to this record, if there is any difference, and why you brought those two songs in particular forward.
Well, in 2015, Tommy Olsson, who also composed the third album of Theatre of Tragedy, Aegis,
Mm-hmm.
he's actually from the same area, the west coast of Norway, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
He reached out and he just, we hadn't seen each other for many years as we both had left Theatre of Tragedy. But he reached out and he said, "Hey, I've got some really, really cool compositions. Would you mind checking them out? Because I think your voice would fit to them." Then 2016 happened and my life was turned upside down. Everything was a mess. And I had to get myself a new financial source or new financial sources to cope with daily life and to take care of my family.
Mm-hmm.
So music and art was just something that was somewhere underneath many, many dark and stressful layers. So I didn't feel any anything coming, anything creative, no creativity. So Tommy, he's been so patient, like you, and he said, "Take your time." And he just kept sending me songs. And then the time came in 2019, 2020, when I had kind of, ended that chapter of my life, and I had come home to myself, and I had the free mind to sit down and work on Tommy's compositions. And I thought, okay, this is it, because he gives me the space. He did that on the Theatre of Tragedy album too. He gives me the space to sing my melodies, to uplift his compositions with, I just love the big choruses and the soft verses, and to bring in the words I need to sing. So I was there and I just felt inspiration coming back. And then I met my new husband, Michael. Mm-hmm. And that was a time when I actually thought, will I ever go back, releasing an album, go back on stage? Will I ever play a live show again? Do I really need this? And my husband and Tommy made sure that I need this. Because, as I already mentioned, music and singing is not something I studied at a university. I studied it with my life. It's an inner call. So they kicked my ass and gave me courage to release this EP. And that is why Have Courage, Dear Heart is actually a way of giving a sign to my audiences, but also giving myself a little bit of courage to release a whole album. So we continued from there, from that release, and to work on more songs. And that's, now the album is finished, and it actually feels like the first album of my second life half. So if I wouldn't have been able to release this album, I would have released a book. Definitely.
Okay. We're gonna talk a little bit about that too. Now, Gravity and Serenity, like I said, were brought forward. Are those two songs? Do they stand out to you? Is there something about those that made you bring those forward?
Yes, Serenity was the first song I got from Tommy.
Oh wow.
And Gravity was the second one. And Gravity is actually, it was and it still is when I perform it online. When I perform it live, it's a momentum where I feel that there is something greater out there. Maybe it's from the universe. I guess it's the universe which tries to manifest something through me. And the lyrics and everything just happened in one flow. And I just knew that that is my song. Gravity is my song. I actually recorded it in a studio in Germany, and my husband was there, and he hadn't heard the vocals yet, but he said, that's the greatest masterpiece you've ever done. And actually the song was written, the words were sung for him.
Wow,
And
that's
it
beautiful.
was such a magic, intense moment. Yeah.
Ah, that's beautiful. That's, and these are the things. These are those stories that make things even more special. It's a great song. I love listening to. I love listening to it. It's fantastic. Now it's even more fantastic with that. Knowing that's just so great. Um, John Lord's masterpiece, Pictured Within.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about Michael a little bit,
Yeah.
and thank you to Michael and Tommy for getting you back on track and kicking the butt a little bit.
Yeah.
Without them, we probably wouldn't have this record, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you to them. John Lord's masterpiece, Pictured
Mm-hmm.
Within, just
Mm-hmm.
it's an emotive song by nature. It's just
Mm-hmm.
something that brings you to tears. It does for me. It's just an amazing song. But you do a duet with your
Yeah.
husband Michael,
Yes.
uh, and he wasn't really ready for that. From what I hear, he's not. It's not his thing. But boy, oh
Oh,
boy, it is just. It's something. This song is just extra special. Tell me a little bit about that experience with getting Michael on the
yeah.
microphone.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your lovely words, and it's actually something that happened linked to a kind of a sad story. Michael's father, my dear father-in-law, passed away last summer, and as you do, and I do, and Michael do, we find a lot of healing in music, listening to music, and Deep Purple's and John Lord's compositions gave a lot of healing to Michael's situation, losing his father all of a sudden. And I decided to go and record it. So I got some musicians, and they recorded the instruments for me, and we drove to the studio. And I didn't really know what was going to happen. But we listened to the song in the car, and Michael just, he was singing along, and there were tears falling down, running down his cheeks. And I said, do you want to join me in the studio? Like, can you take it? Can you bear it? Because it was just a couple of weeks after Michael's father passed away. And he said, yes, I need to be there when you're singing it. I need to feel this love and this frequency. It's sad, but it's healing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I recorded my vocals for the complete song. And then Michael looked at me and he said, I'm ready. And he stood up and he recorded his vocals in 2 takes. He never had any vocal coaching from my side. He's never been on a stage. He's never been in front of a microphone, and he did it. So you know what? When I get this question from my students, from my music students, when they're receiving vocal coaching, when I get that question, can anyone sing? Can I become a singer even if I have just been singing in the shower? So far, my answer is yes.
There you go. Yep.
If it comes from the heart, if you feel it when you sing it, you can do it. And I'm still, it takes me by surprise when I listen to the song. And I know that it means so much for Michael to send out this frequency to his father.
Yeah, what a special moment on the record. Like I say, the song itself, is just a great emotional song. You take it to a new level on the record. It's really something. Just a wonderful centerpiece for the record.
I will tell Michael as soon as he's home. I will tell him. He's going to be very happy.
Yeah, it is just an amazing performance, and never in front of a microphone or anything. It's just wow. If that is an
Yeah.
inspiration for your students, I don't know what would be.
Yeah.
You have another song on the record that is a little bit different. I thought, Maligna.
Yeah.
Tell me
You're
about
right.
the inspiration behind that one. It sounds like a pretty angry leave there.
Well, when I received the demo of that song from Tommy, and I think it was 2021. Yeah. Spring 21. It was called Fuck It.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he titled it. And I thought, well, yeah, it has something of that. So I thought, is there somewhere where I would like to to give that message for once in my life, to tell somebody to off? Yes, yes, absolutely. So it's actually, well, I'm taking two sides. It's about being together and experiencing narcissism when somebody stuck your life power out of you, trying to steal your life source, trying to steal everything you are, suppressing you, and so you feel bewildered. You just feel like living next to yourself. You're not even living, you're just existing, and you're coping with stuff every day, and you swallow and swallow and swallow.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that we should start, setting boundaries and open up our eyes for that kind of abuse, because it is abuse. And the next thing is, I'm taking the side of the person who abused, because people who abuse most probably have been abused themselves, starting from childhood. So I'm taking both sides. So I'm bringing in a lot of empathy and understanding and forgiveness, next to also saying, I'm not taking this, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah, and that's it. It is. It's an important song on the record. I think
Mhm.
it stands out to me. A little bit of that profanity in there. It's a little different. I think for you,
Yeah.
and but there's a spark behind it. It's a real, like I
Mhm.
say, there's a little bit of anger there, and it's got an edge for sure. Um, Probably the most fascinating song on the record for me, that I would
Mhm.
question the most, Shaolin Me. Uh,
Yeah.
it's very, very different. There's a little bit of a spoken word passage at the end that made me really curious. Where does that come from? Did you write that? Is it an
Yeah.
ancient text? Did you read that? So explain a little bit of that inspiration, because that is a very different song for you, right?
Yes, it is definitely, and it has a lot of that those vibes and that frequency from some of the compositions on Aegis, of Theatre of Tragedy, the third album, also composed by Tommy. And it's like, we play that song live, and now we just added it to our set list, and it's like people are saying, like, is that a new song, or is it a Theatre of Tragedy song? So I think it's very important to have that song on the album, and it was actually the song which followed Maligna. So very two different
Right.
compositions, working different compositions, and I thought, when I heard the song, I thought it had something to do with with Eastern mysticism, with with Buddhism, I thought that's just a very different frequency. And well, I've been into to yoga and Tai Chi for years and years, and I'm teaching yoga as well, Kundalini yoga. Okay. So I've been interested in the Xiaoli temples around the world and the Xiaoli warriors, and I've read a lot about them, and it's an inspiration actually to get back to your source and to feel yourself again. And I also learned myself that it's important to have a strong body if you're having a stressful life. It makes your mind stronger, actually. And I do appreciate all that kind of sports, different kind of sports up until today. But Shaolin masters also bring in some this strength combined with stillness, and that is what I love so much, and concentration and clarity. So the words are wisely chosen, and the lyrics, I wrote all the lyrics on the album, as on all of my albums actually, and it has a lot of strength in it, I think. Xiaoli Me is a very, very strong piece of music with strong words.
Yes, and I think that comparison to the Theater of Tragedy stuff, because it's very large, it's grand. There is a big sound behind all of it. And like I say, that spoken word passage, that writing, it's just so classic, and I mean, it reminded me of like an ancient text. You know, the lyric writing, of course, is amazing as usual. It's what a strong thing that you bring to your music. It's just great. Song that opens the record, Our Immortal Day. We get Tristania vocalist Austin Burgoy. Title track has Fernando Ribeiro adding his voice, and we get Carmen, of course. A few duets. You know, like you did the Beauty and the Beast thing with Theater of Tragedy. We get a sharp contrast of vocal tones here. That is something, you know, how do you decide which songs get that and which don't? Is there a formula for you?
It's just the feeling of the song, and I just love that. The thing we had, the Beauty and the Beast thing with Theater of Tragedy on the first three albums. I just love it, and it's I just want to bring it in when I have the feeling that I need a partner here and I need a different voice. So we could turn it into a duet. So it's just the feeling of the song itself. Yeah.
And it is. What was that? You dropped out a little bit. What?
It's a great honor to have all three of them, and Øystein is one of Tommy's best friends. He's living on the same island as Tommy, and so it was clear that we needed to get him. And Fernando has always been, since we toured in the 90s, he's been a great friend. He's been a great support. And he's also been kicking my butt, saying, hey, we need you and you can't give up. So let me support you in any way. So when I heard and had written the lyrics for River of Diamonds, I just got in touch with Fernando immediately.
Great.
I said, yes, of course, this is a great song. And with Carmen, Love Me High, you know, every time I meet my sister, I'm currently living in Switzerland, and she's been living in Norway for many, many years now. And every time we meet, it's like we just have so much fun. And even if she's my little sister, she's been such a great support throughout the rough times, and she's actually been my big sister. So every time we meet, you know, we have a laugh, and we both got this Scandinavian West Coast Norwegian West Coast black humor. So it's about being in love with life itself and being in love with the moment, and that's what I'm feeling when I meet my sister.
That's so great. That's so nice. And you are still part of Midnight Soul, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They're kind of there. I think not much is going on after people got married.
That happens.
We're talking about an acoustic album just recently, so we'll see, but things will happen someday. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. And the Theater of Tragedy chapter, not necessarily closed. I've heard. Tommy, of course, working with you on this record, but you have a great relationship with everybody in that band, right?
With everybody, and every time I'm home, maybe once or twice a year, we meet for a couple of beers downtown Stavanger, and we kind of sit down to make plans. But it's like we're still missing at least one person from the original lineup, and we need to have everybody.
Yeah.
And that's but I would be in. I would definitely be in, even if we would, if Nell, the female singer who joined in after me, we could do the nice harmonies,
Right.
together. Why not? I got her songs, I got my songs, and we could support each other. So I wouldn't mind, but we're not the full gang.
Right. Right. Oh, how much fun would that be? Wow.
Yeah.
That would be so much fun for fans and yourself alike. I know it would be. Um, Cradle of Filth.
Yeah.
Just a big moment for that band.
Yeah.
Kind of changed what they do a little bit. It was a great sound with Nymphetamine. And of course, you did one more after that in 2017, Vengeful Spirit.
Mhm.
Did they ever consider making you did they ever ask you to do more, become a member possibly of that band, and do more like Nymphetamine?
No, no, not really. I guess they were lucky having somebody, a female voice, a lady also playing the keyboards,
Right.
So that's great. I can't play the keyboards even up to date, so I guess they're always been happy and content with their lineup. But we never actually got together to play the song live. But the memories of this gathering, or cooperation with Danny, was amazing, because Roadrunner Records had tried to get in touch with me for a long time, and the emails ended up in my spam. And someday the phone rang, and it was somebody from Roadrunner saying, "Hello, we need your recordings within the next 48 hours." Okay, so and I talked to Danny on the phone. He was in the studio, I think it was in England, and he told me, "You know what? You know exactly what to do. So just sing with your honey voice." And I was like, "Honey voice?" Yeah, that's the voice in which you would read to my children or to your children. Just do it that way. And I thought about Nick Cave, Kylie Minogue, Wild Roses Grow.
Right.
I thought that's maybe what he means, and it was exactly what he meant. So I talked to him after I had recorded my vocals, and he said that's exactly what I need, because he's a perfectionist, just like myself in so many ways. So a couple of weeks later, we met in London's Dungeons to shoot a video, and he was a gentleman, and we had a really good time together. And then we got nominated for the Grammy. We didn't make it to LA to cross the red carpet. Lemmy Motorhead got the Grammy, but he deserves it. He deserved it. He's not among us anymore.
Right.
But the experience of, I remember back then I was driving in my car with my newborn baby in the back, and then the voice in the radio said, "Well, Liv Kristine from Norway has just been nominated for a Grammy." And I thought, wow, that's why my phone is going mad. Yeah, what a great experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and what a great song, and just the sound itself, just really it made, again, paved the path for so many more to come after,
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
style for sure. Um, yeah, I look at this catalog and I look at Amphetamine and I look at the new record and Theater of Tragedy and Leaves Eyes. There's so much that you've done. Um, I want to play something for somebody. I always tell people who I'm going to be talking to in the week, and I'll get questions. They may not know you, they may not know your sound, your
Yeah.
voice. What does it sound? What is it? What does it sound like? Play something for me. What's the first thing I should play from you to open somebody to your music? Is there a song in your catalog that you feel best represents you?
I think we could play the title track River of Diamonds and then Xiaoli Me.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I will, and I will do that if there is anybody for sure. Um, is there something in your life, and you've done so much with your life, and you've been through so much, um, something that you've always wanted to do but haven't had the chance yet?
Hmm. Well, the things I'm doing at a daily basis is teaching, working with children with special needs, which I didn't study. The same thing with singing and composing. I didn't study that. So both of these things kind of happen um, because it's an inner call, I guess, because that's something that the universe or a greater force wants me to do, to serve in my lifetime. And that feels just wonderful because it's something that I'm really passionate about. Both of those things, singing and teaching. And so I kind of feel like I'm in that authentic frequency. I feel in alignment with everything, but it also has to do with, as we already talked about, closing a chapter, coming home to oneself as a person, as a mother, as a woman, and as an artist. So yeah, I just turned 47, and I feel like my life just started, and it feels like I can, just close the door of a huge chapter, but still I'm aware of the fact that I'm here because of the experience I had. Sometimes life is beauty, sometimes life is broken. So bring in that acceptance, and you will wake up in a very different state. And you will smile to life because not everybody will wake up this morning. Yeah, I started to smile towards my mornings and towards life again after a very harsh period, and
Mm-hmm.
have courage, dear heart, as well as River of Diamonds is actually. I want to strengthen your voices. I want to give you the courage to live to live authentically, to show your true colors, and let it come from the heart. Be passionate about what you're doing and choose wisely. And bring in that self-love and bring in that acceptance towards life itself. That life can be both broken and beauty. And I feel like there is some kind of message I still will keep giving to the universe. Also through my vocal coaching, there is something there that happens, and that's a wonderful thing. It
Mm-hmm.
gives me the meetings and the moments I have with all of you and with my singing students, with the people I'm helping to dissolve traumas and to dissolve blockages, to strengthen their voices. All of this makes so much sense to me, and it fills me with gratitude. And I consider myself to be very lucky where I am today.
That's so great to hear. We're so happy for you. And it's just so great to hear you say that. You know, you've got a new chapter. You feel like it's the beginning. Wow, that's nothing greater to hear than that. That's just so great. You mentioned a book before. Is there still a small desire to write a book, to write your story? And I know you have a book of poetry coming. Is that done? Does it have a release date? All of those things. The books. Tell me about that.
Yeah, there is something going on, yes, but it's I never written a book, so it's just like I'm sitting down with my cup of coffee whenever I have a morning off. I sit down and I just type my thoughts. I don't know where this thing is going, but I still have time. And my poetry collection it's finished, but it's like every time I have a look at it, I might change a word. And somebody, a well-known poet from Canada, told me actually that you stop doing that. Just release it. You have to release it. Release also means like give it to the world, but also let it go, right?
Right.
So yeah, so it's a nice meaning added to the word release. So yeah, and I decided to release my poetry collection in connection with a re-release of one of my solo albums, which I think that would fit. So I wanna connect the two. So
Okay.
let's see how many cups of coffee I need to arrive at that point when I'm ready to release.
It's that perfectionist. There we go.
Yeah.
We can't wait. And your story. You know, you said if you didn't have this record, it would have been a book. That wouldn't be such a bad thing either for us out here. We would love to hear your take and your feelings and your thoughts and your story. Is that something you're considering?
Yeah, I'm considering it. And a friend of mine, also a writer, he published 2 books already, and he said, you know, if I would have had your brain with all those memories from the road, backstage, taking your family on tour, and all the crazy stuff you experienced at the west coast of Norway, which was black metal in the 90s,
Right.
all that stuff. You would just, take your time to sit down and start typing, and there you would have a book. It's
Hmm.
not a problem. You just have to write it, to type it, and release it. So yeah, there is so much stuff that I would like to put on paper. Yeah, there is so much stuff and so many great stories. Stories, incredible stories, impossible stories that happen on the road. So yeah, why not? Let's see. You give me some inspiration there too. I have it off, so maybe I should open my lappy now and start typing.
Please do. You know, it's just, you know, I watched the performance recently at Vakken.
Yeah,
You know, the Viking ship and you know, all
yeah.
of that, and I think to myself, what is it like to stand in front of that many people? You know, I see the camera pan that crowd, and I've seen many Vakken performances, and you've done a lot of that kind of thing. Uh,
Mhm.
I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear what a day is like when you know, you're
Mhm.
walking up those stairs to that stage and you emerge and see that many people, all with their arms in the air, you know, chanting for you. That's got to be immense power in that. So yeah, please write this down.
Yeah,
Let us know.
I will. Because that's a resonance. When you have that resonance with the audience, it just it you'll feel high. And I never, maybe that's the reason I never took and never needed any drugs. I've been high half of my life already.
Right, right. Yeah, and as a fan, that is it. There, it brings you to a new level when you see these things, when you hear the music. It's just it's a beautiful drug that you give us for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I say, I see that tour. I see you playing on the stage. Uh, do you want to tour? Do you have a tour planned? Are you planning a tour? Will we see you in North America? I'm here in Chicago, in the States. I would love, 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 love to see you. Um, is that what is the touring situation?
Well, if you could get me over, that would be really nice because I never played in North America with my solo band, and I would love, love, love to come over. And right now, since we had that situation with COVID and everything, I'm really blessed to have. I had my 9 to 5 job, working at primary schools with kids during that time, which of course that period led to the fact that many artists actually couldn't perform. So I was lucky to have that job and a steady income.
Yeah.
But I love to come back and love to play more. And of course, it's all about planning. It's all about balance in life. And now, as River of Diamonds will be released on Friday, starting with a show in Switzerland. I hope that some promoters will open up their eyes and invite me to their cities and towns, to their clubs, because I would love to come out and play more for you guys.
We would love to have you here. That would be so wonderful. Liv, thank you, thank you, thank you. Such an honor to speak with you.
Great.
I so
Thank you.
appreciate your time. It's this Friday, April 21st, River Diamonds on Metalville Records. Out there for the world, released. Even though you might want to tweak it a little, but this is a perfect record. It really is. And we're so lucky to have it. We're so lucky to have you still doing what you do in your new chapter. So thank you for being here, and please, my door is always open.
I thank you for taking your time, and it was a really lovely chat. Thank you for being there and supporting me and my work, and for being around still after all these years of having released no full-length albums. You're still around. That's a sign.
Yes.
I gotta keep going, and I just want to say thank you to you and to everybody else out there my community who's been so supportive and so patient all these years. So yeah, I hope to see you soon in person, and be safe, and let's celebrate this together, and let's stay in touch.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Uh,
Have a wonderful day.
you too,
All
you
right.
too.
Bye bye.
Peace. Bye
You
bye.
too. Bye bye.